That's a big spider behind me. Okay. Hello, my name is Heather. Welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, thank you so much for being here. If you would consider liking and subscribing, that would be great. If you're an old friend, thank you so much for being here. I love seeing you here each week. Today we're talking Canadian perfume discovery kits. I do recognize that a lot of you are Americans watching me or from other countries. I'm fairly certain a lot of these places also deliver to America. I'm pretty sure Scentrique does, though they might have their own separate website for Canada versus America. But I am Canadian, so we're talking Canadian discovery kits. We've got two discovery kits here. One is from Parfum Exquis. They're based in Montreal, and the other discovery kit is from Scentrique, which is based in Vancouver. Just to be clear, I am not going to go into like testing and analyzing the scents today. I do that in my monthly testing videos. The Parfum Exquis one, all the scents are in the October testing, and the Scentrique testing will be in my November video coming up in a few weeks. If you're interested in learning about some Canadian discovery kits, just keep on watching. I'm going to discuss a couple of different aspects of the ordering process and everything with these, and I'm just going to do a comparison. And I also just want to say thank you to my mom. My mom paid for both of these discovery kits for my birthday. Thank you, Mom. I love you. I'll tell you a little bit about what scents are included in these and stuff. These are the October sets. Editing Heather here. I saw some posts from Scentrique referring to this kit as the November kit. So I guess it's October, November, not both October. In the video, I'll probably continue to talk about it as being October, but it's October, November, if that makes sense. So I'm going to talk about the delivery experience. So I ordered these at the beginning of October, both on the same day. I decided to go for these and do this little comparison thing. So with the Parfum Exquis one, I placed my order for this. They're in Montreal, I'm in Toronto. I literally had this in my hands the next day. They sent this out extremely quickly. I had it very, very fast. It was just right in. Scentrique package, they state on their website that they don't send these out till the 24th of every month. That is when they start delivering things. So even though I ordered it October 2nd, they didn't start processing until the 24th. I got this basically at the beginning of November, so you get it about a month later. That's just something to keep in mind when you're ordering this, is that this might not come immediately. Okay, so with Parfum Exquis, they refer to this as their set of pins. They do like a little like boarding pass advertising for this. It's a monthly perfume box. You get 8 perfumes, 1 milliliter each. With Scentrique, this is a monthly subscription. You get a set of 5 perfumes for 2 milliliters each. So in terms of costs, you can do a one-time purchase like I did, which puts this at $39.40. If you do a 3-month subscription, this actually brings down the cost of this a little bit, and it is $33.49. So it brings down the cost a little bit. Additionally, with this, the delivery costs were free delivery. So it was $39.40 plus tax, and it stayed that price, and it arrived the next day. With Scentrique's, this set is $39.90. Shipping was $14.90. and then taxes. So this ended up being $61.93 Canadian. However, I will just talk about my experience with this shipping a little bit. Part of it is not their fault, and I understand, but I will just explain what happened for the sake of clarity and honesty on this video. So I ordered this October 2nd or 3rd or something. I ordered this, and within the same day, after they had charged me the shipping fee and everything, and it was $61, they sent me an email, and they were like, hey, the Canadian postal strike is ongoing. We can either just hold the kit back for you until that issue is resolved, or you can pay an additional $9 and have it sent via UPS. I did want to make this video. When I ordered this, the Canada Post strike had just happened. It was sudden. They just did it, and all mail had stopped. So I was like, okay, I'll pay the additional $9. I guess maybe this was my misunderstanding. I thought it was if the Canada Post strike was still happening by the 24th when they were going to send this, then they would charge me the $9. They charged me the $9 that same day, like within hours. So it was $61.99 plus an additional, like it basically was $70. I felt a little bit weird about that because I thought it was like, okay, well, I thought you were going to wait and see until the 24th. You could have like waited to see until the 24th, because Canada Post is still on strike, but we have like roving strikes now where like a certain area will just not have mail for like a day or two, and then they'll move on and etc. So like mail is moving through the system now, so they could have sent this Canada Post, but they just charged me that additional $9 immediately. It also just took quite a while to arrive after they did send it. It was like maybe well, not like a hugely long, like maybe like a week or two. That was my experience with shipping. I understand that like the Canada Post strike has nothing to do with Scentrique, and that might not be relevant anymore to your experience, but I just wanted to say that like that happened, and I didn't super love that like they didn't wait to see what the Canada Post strike was going to do. It was maybe just my own misunderstanding. I don't know. Just thought I would talk about that because that is part of the experience. So this ended up being about $70. This was about $40. The other thing I will say about these two things is with Parfum Exquis, they tell you what's going to be in it in advance. On the website, they list all of the fragrances that are going to be part of the kit. You know what you're getting. You can just buy the kit on its own. With Scentrique, you actually don't know what you're getting until it arrives. It's a fun little surprise. Whether you like to be surprised or not, that's up to you, but that's the two different experiences with these. With the subscription-based part of this, with Parfum Exquis, you can sign up for three months and get it slightly cheaper. So with Parfum Exquis, you choose whether or not you just want the 1 month, or you can sign up for 3 months at a time and save a little bit of money. With Scentrique, once you purchase one of these, you are signed up for the subscription service. If you only wanted one like I did, it's just to try out, you have to go into their system and unsubscribe from this. So they automatically sign you up. If you're only looking to buy like a month or two, you need to keep an eye on that and unsubscribe yourself rather than choosing what sort of subscription you have. So let's talk presentation a little bit. Parfum Exquis comes in this little box with their name on it. It's very cute. When you open it up, it comes looking like this. It's got its own little like foam thing and a bunch of samples. It also comes with a couple of different things in here. So it comes with a little thank you, which is like hand signed, which is kind of nice. Little thank you note. It comes with a QR code. I believe this goes to a TikTok video where they talk about the fragrances and whatnot. I will try to link to this so you can see what video it leads you to. And then also you get individual cards with the fragrance. Parfum Exquis on their website and stuff too does these little pictures like with the notes and stuff. Little QR code that will lead you to that fragrance if you want to buy more of it. Then it gives you cards for each fragrance. So you can learn a little bit about the notes and maybe buy more if you want to, and that, et cetera, et cetera. So that comes with that. Scentrique, in terms of packaging, just comes in a little baggie, is fine. And it comes with a little postcard describing the scents. Clearly the Parfum Exquis one has a little bit better presentation, but also is maybe like a little bit more waste when you consider it. So 50-50, whatever is better to you. What came in each set. So this was for the month of October. You will have different experiences because it is no longer October 2025. The Parfum Exquis came with Nota Tonka by Ūlyka, Chimba by Lorenzo Pazzaglia, Gold Juice by Born to Stand Out, Antal by Estoras, Dscvr Me by éveìlleur, Divine Vanille by Essential Parfums, Blue Indigo by Giardini di Toscana, and Apricot Innocence by Simone Andreoli. Scentrique came with Remarkable People, Etat d'Orange, Café des Délices by Maison Mataha, Oud Sapparot by Montale, Herod by Parfums de Marly, and Velvet Fig by Essential Parfums. So in terms of like discovery value, it's gonna vary depending on the season and your experience with perfumes and stuff. With the Parfum Exquis one, I had never smelled any of these fragrances, so that's great. I had heard of most of these brands, but there was 2 brands that were brand new to me that I never heard of or experienced before, so that's kind of cool. With Scentrique, I had smelled only one of these fragrances before. I had smelled Herod before, but all the rest of them were new to me as well in terms of fragrances to try, so there you go. But your experience will vary, obviously. In terms of variety for Parfum Exquis, out of the 8 fragrances, I took a look at the year of release for these, and at least 4 out of the 8 fragrances were released in 2025, so there are some new releases. So about 50% new releases and 50% older fragrances. The only one I couldn't find the year for was Blue Indigo by Giardini di Toscana. I have no idea what year that was released. Everything else is within like the last like 6 years or so, but like there is about 50% new releases in this. With Scentrique, also a fairly even split, like a little bit less on the new releases. There's 2 new releases from 2025 in here, and then 3 older fragrances. Some of them going back all the way to 2012. So there's a variety in terms of like new release versus old. Just in terms of of like the variety of these fragrances, I would say for both of these sets, I looked into gender divisions within these, and every single fragrance in these was marked unisex on Parfumo. All the fragrances in here, I sort of like also looked at Parfumo and looked at like what types of fragrances they were considered. So like the list here is like fruity sweet, sweet spicy, sweet creamy, leathery, spicy gourmand, aquatic fresh, fruity sweet, fruity sweet. There's like a heavy lean towards sweet, but there is a little bit of variety in there. In terms of Scentrique, these were listed as fruity sweet, spicy sweet, fruity fresh, gourmand creamy, and sweet and spicy. So like, again, a little heavier on the sweet as well, but a variety. Also, in terms of these, I would try to look at like seasonal wearing and stuff like that. And for the most part, it made sense. There was a lot of like spring, fall, winter kind of things. But like, for instance, Perfume Exquis included things like Dscvr Me, which is an aquatic fresh scent, which is like a summer fragrance. And it is October. So like, I don't think they're paying too much attention to like the season that these are coming out, which up to you what you think about that. Okay, so we're going to talk about value, and I'm going to do a bunch of math for you. I will preface this by saying I'm not good at math. I'm going to explain how I came to these conclusions. If there is a better way to do this math, please let me know. I did like a whole spreadsheet. Maybe I will put it on the screen. I'm going to look at my notes a little bit, so sorry if I'm looking down. I will try to explain my math and logic in these. So what I did to just figure out cost per value, I went and looked at the prices of the fragrances on the sites themselves. For Perfume Exquis, I looked at what that fragrance costs, full cost. I know you could, in theory, look and see gray market prices of things and etc., like that kind of thing. I didn't do that. I just looked at the websites themselves. And then I divided. So I did the cost of the scent divided by the millimeters of the scent to find like a cost per milliliter. So I did that math. And then I came out with a number of the cost per milliliter. This set comes in 1 milliliter vials. So I didn't really have to do any math beyond that until we will get to it. So I also did the same math on Scentrique. I did the cost of the fragrance per milliliter to find the cost per milliliter value. This set comes in 2 milliliters, so I doubled that number to figure out the cost of these vials. Cost per milliliter doesn't include things like packaging or the vials themselves, or labor involved in decanting these and putting these sets together, or like envelopes to send them to. Like there's like other costs involved with that, right? So cost per milliliter doesn't necessarily take the complete value of everything into consideration, right? So what I did, on Scentrique's website, they sell the 2 milliliter decants of all of their fragrances. You can just order decants in this size of whatever fragrance you want, which means they have a cost associated with these individual things. So I can look up a 2 milliliter of Herod and see what they are charging to buy that individually. And what I found was kind of interesting because there was a huge variety in terms of the cost per milliliter versus the actual cost you could buy on the website for Scentrique. So like, for instance, the Remarkable People by Etat d'Orange, the cost per 2 milliliter was $4.80. They're charging $6.50 for a 2 milliliter decant, which is a difference of $1.70. However, Café de Délices, which is a new release, is about $5.90 per milliliter, but they're charging $12 for that same 2 milliliter decant. So it's a difference of $6.10. And there's a variety of reasons for this, right? A lot of which I assume is demand. There's probably a difference in demand for Café de Délices, which is a new release, versus Remarkable People, which is a release from 2015. So my logic for this is I took those 5 differences for the cost of a 2 milliliter decant off their website, minus the cost per milliliter that I calculated, and I came up with 5 different numbers. And what I did is I took those 5 numbers and I averaged it out to $3.31 for miscellaneous cost. So I came up with that average number of $3.31. What I've done is I've used that number to add to the Perfume Exquis ones. I used that additional costs value, the average one from Scentrique, And I added that number to the Parfum Exquis ones just to account for things like materials and etc. to get a better idea of the actual cost of this set. I hope I explained that clearly. I hope that math makes sense. If it doesn't, please let me know. I'm willing to be corrected in the comments. Just to come up with like total values of these sets versus the cost. So the math and total for the Parfum Exquis set, which is going for $39.40. The total value that I could figure out for this set was $54.65. So that's a pretty good deal. That's a good cost per value, I think. You're getting it for much more inexpensively than you would buying these decants individually. They also don't sell these decants individually on Parfum Exquis, not that small anyways. They sell larger ones. That seems like pretty good value to me. Scentrique was a little bit easier to figure out because they sell these individuals. So I just added this up, and this value was $44 for the bag. But with the additional shipping costs bringing this to $60 usually, and then $70 for me, this is maybe less value than what this is worth. Overall conclusions. I do have a preference towards the Parfum Exquis one. It has better value, I think, within the set. You get more scents. You get a little bit less of them. So if that's important to you to have a little bit more, then maybe go with the other one, but you get more scents to try. The packaging is also, I think, a lot nicer. If you only want one, you can get one. You don't have to cancel a subscription after you order this. Yeah, I just think that this is probably a bit more better value. But Scentrique, also you get a little bit more. It really depends on what your preferences are. Have any of you signed up for any of these subscriptions? What do you think of them? What has your experience been like? I would love to hear about it. Thank you so much for watching, friends. I will see you around.